Hey, what's up, y'all? So we got some interesting news coming out of Marvel, or at least rumors. So first, I really want to give a rundown on like who exactly the Thunderbolts are, just really quick, surface level rundown, and then we'll talk about the cool ass powers of Sentry and what his potential role might be in this upcoming Thunderbolts movie. Let's get into it. All right, so the Thunderbolts movie has been on my radar simply because I want to see Yelena. I just want to see her. I love her. I want to see her again. And of course, I think this whole, just the fact that they're doing the Thunderbolts in general is really cool. Like, I think it's cool. And then on top of that, we had this rumor that Sentry's probably going to be playing a villain adjacent role in this movie. And so once I saw all them powers that Sentry has, I was like, yeah, I need to get into it. And also it's rumored that Ryan Gosling will be cast as Sentry, so that's interesting as well. So as far as their origins in the comics, they first popped up on the scene acting like they were trying, like the Thunderbolts were trying to save innocent people, especially from like the Hulk's rampages. But just, you know, they are trying to establish themselves as a new powerful superhero team, especially after, I think, the events of Onslaught. Yes, after the Onslaught event happened and killed off the Avengers and Fantastic Four, like they were trying to exploit those teams' absences. And as it says here, they were trying to snake their way into the public's hearts and then use their newfound power and platform for evil. But since then, the Thunderbolts have taken on many forms. The team often consists of villains, heroes, and anti-heroes, but their first iteration is their most famous. So I don't know, this Thunderbolts movie is gonna have a lot of dynamics, obviously, because of like the team that we see, and also I think that they have so much to pull from. So even though I haven't heard news about Baron Zemo, I feel like they're probably gonna bring him back since he was so pivotal to the Thunderbolts in the actual comics. Let me read this here. The character Baron Zemo recently reappeared in The Falcon and Winter Soldier, helping Bucky and Sam fight the Flag Smashers before returning to captivity in the raft. So yeah, I don't hear anything or a whole lot about Baron Zemo, but I'm sure that he's going to be involved in some way. So yeah, the current team that we have is Val, of course, who is the deputy director of the CIA, like we all know. Remember, Val was recruiting John Walker, which is U.S. agent, and Yelena. She'd be walking around here acting like she's like just this comic relief, but at the end of the day, she's very sinister. Like if she has a goal, she's gonna get that shit done. And I do like how she likes to make it seem like she's not as aware as she is, you know what I mean, or as competent as she actually is. So that's gonna be interesting dynamic in this movie. Remember, she was an antagonist in Ant-Man 2, and she went into hiding with Bill Foster at the end of the movie, who could also reappear. Then of course we have the Red Guardian, and Yelena, and Taskmaster all on the same team. That's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Bucky Barnes and U.S. Agent. So what can we expect from the Thunderbolts movie? Let me read here. Like their comic counterparts, the Thunderbolts will be a team of anti-heroes and villains from across the Marvel universe. Together, they will be tasked with overcoming their differences to stop a threat, which at this point is unknown. And they say it's unknown, but obviously there are a whole lot of rumors that we're going to be seeing Sentry, and I'm going to talk about him a little bit later in this video. So when asked to describe the MCU Thunderbolts team, David Harbour, who plays Red Guardian, said, the MCU has always been sort of elevated in a certain way. Captain America, even Iron Man, although he has egos, are always in it for the right reasons, or ultimately they do the right thing. And I like these guys who are and by these guys he's saying the Thunderbolts team. He said, I like these guys who are a bunch of losers, or a bunch of guys who can't quite get it right. So obviously this movie is going to feel a little bit like Suicide Squad, but I've seen multiple reports saying that it's not going to rely as heavily on comedy as Suicide Squad does, right? So I mean, I'm sure the dynamics, like I said, will be so interesting, because Red Guardian's gonna try and be funny like he was in the Black Widow movie. That shit was, I mean, I did laugh. There's certain I did laugh. So, and of course, the Red Guardian with Yelena being on there, that's gonna be fucking crazy. And then, with, like I said before, with Taskmaster just sitting there, we're gonna see what she was up to after all that brainwashing. Also, U.S. Agent and Bucky are no doubt gonna bump heads in some capacity like they did the last time we saw them in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So yeah, I feel like in this movie, there's gonna be lots of room for comedy or awkward or tense interactions, but it's less likely to be the type of unrelenting clownery that we see in Suicide Squad. And also, as Suicide Squad, like, they're all prisoners, right? And I don't think that's not the case when it comes to the Thunderbolts. So who is Sentry, right? Let's switch gears here. Sentry's real name is Robert Reynolds. And Sentry is sometimes referred to as Marvel's Superman, even though you could argue for Hyperion too. But honestly, Sentry has way more superpowers than Superman, and we're gonna get into it. As far as his origins, his story starts off with him, suffering with addiction, drug addiction. He breaks into some lab thinking that he's gonna find drugs, but instead he finds a golden Sentry serum and takes it. Now, this golden Sentry serum is a super soldier serum, but it's magnified by many times. I think it's said like 100,000 times. So if you think Captain America's strong, child, this motherfucker's gonna be crazy, right? So he now has the power of 1 million exploding suns. When he gets his powers, he decides to be a superhero and calls himself Sentry. Even Spider-Man was looking up to him at one point. Now, the issue is that the Void showed up. The Void is some shadowy, dark-ass being that uses someone's own greatest fears against them. And it killed 1 million people, I think. It killed a bunch of people in Manhattan, if I'm not mistaken. And the kicker is that it was discovered that the Void was the negative side of Sentry's personality, powers, whatever you want to call it, right? So it's like another side of the Sentry that's just crazy and evil. So the only way to defeat the Void was apparently to link up with Doctor Strange and Reed Richards and come up with a way to make everyone forget that the Sentry even existed. Everyone, including Robert Reynolds / Sentry himself. So yeah, the Void was defeated because obviously it was being fueled by Sentry's power. So if he ain't using that shit, then it's done. Then the Void was defeated. So this is why I'm thinking in the movie, something like this could happen where the government was trying to make this crazy powerful serum even more powerful than the one that Captain America got. And Reynolds somehow, Sentry somehow got a hold of it, and now they got to stop him, especially if you're going to add, the element of the Void to this movie. You got to stop him, right? But the CIA is trying to stop him covertly, right? Because they don't want anyone to know that a serum like this was even made in the fucking first place. Fucking experiments I'm sure they're trying to do. But yeah, if Reynolds gets a hold of it and starts going crazy, got the Void and shit, maybe Val is just like, look, I got an issue. This motherfucker's about to pop off, and I don't want nobody to know about it. I'm gonna get y'all to do what we need to do covertly and defeat this motherfucker before it becomes anything worse. So I think that could potentially be how they're going to use Sentry, and in a way where it's just like, okay, yes, he's doing crazy shit, but if we defeat the Void, he's not going to be, technically he's not going to be a villain all the way, right? If you defeat the thing that's causing all these issues, if it's just one side of him, it's not all of him. So that could be how they introduce him, like he's crazy, a villain, whatever. But then once they solve the issue, he could just be added to the roster as a hero. So yeah, that's one way I think they're going to go with it. And I think I might be, even if they don't do that specifically, I think that's probably where the story is leaning. Now, as far as his powers, and we'll end the video after this, it's crazy, okay? And this is not even all the powers that he got. So obviously he has super strength. He can keep up with Thor and Hulk. He fights against Galactus at one point. He lifted up a Celestial's body into space at one point as well. He obviously has invulnerability. He has an insane healing factor to the point where him flying into the sun did not kill him. All right. He has, and that makes sense if he has the power of 1 million exploding suns. He has matter manipulation down to the atomic level, which means also shape-shifting, which means also intangibility and phasing. He has energy absorption and manipulation. And we're talking about like destroying planets during fights, kind of energy manipulation. He has super speed. telepathy. And thanks to Comics Explained for letting me know that Emma Frost and Professor X had to work together to get into his mind, which I think is wild. I think it's crazy as fuck that Professor X needs Cerebro to do anything anyway, like girl, but whatever. Anyway, that's not what the video's about. He also has flight, teleportation, invisibility, all types of shit. So it's just like, I'm ready to see it. I'm ready to see it. It's fine. It's fine. Let him go off the walls. Let him go crazy. And just, you know, we think that these Thunderbolts are bad, or, you know what I mean, anti-hero or villainish a little bit. But then it would be a completely different ball game, a completely different kind of villainy if, you know, the Void comes with Sentry and starts fucking shit up. And I want to see it. So, yeah, that's a quick rundown of the Thunderbolts and the Sentry and what I could find out about it. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I will catch y'all later. Peace.